Hello everyone, welcome back to day two. It was great starting this series. I hope it will help you all. The perspective with which I started, it will be fulfilled. This is basically designed to help you write your answers in a more structured way and avoid the common mistakes that I have seen people doing in so many years. Okay, so and if you are new here, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share this with your friends because some of them might need this. Okay, uh, why I'm sharing this 60 days ahead of exam is because after seeing the question papers, I realized one thing, that you guys need to incorporate some things before um, you are very close to exams, right? Because these needs to be incorporated in your second or third reading itself. Okay, or might be some people are doing first reading. So in your first reading, you would not have much time if you start this thing 10 days or 15 days before exams. Okay, so without wasting time, let's start it. I have shared four questions, out of which three questions were asked in last three attempts in exam, which shows that institute has not put much importance to this chapter. However, in old syllabus it was a very favorite chapter, like around 8 to 16 to 20 marks we could have expected in some attempts, and sometimes eight. Okay, so now we can see that they have not asked this chapter's questions too much. So why is it so? Now institute has incorporated some chapters from ECIPL to GIGL, like Contract Act, Specific Relief Act. So the scope for them to ask question has definitely increased a lot. Okay, um let's start with the questions. So I'll take the first question now. A very important thing to learn from this question is you should not skip the supplement issued by institute. I have seen this in all the papers of ICSI, either it's executive or professional level, that they are targeting a lot of questions from supplement, which is amendment, right? And also the question pattern has changed a lot. JIGL, usually you people used to have one or two questions or maybe four questions at max, which will be case based. But now most of the questions are case based and few questions might be direct. So you have to change your approach of studying JIGL. Now you have to add the judgments issued by codes in the case laws. Okay, so you have to study them along with the articles or sections, whatever it is in each chapters. You can't skip the gray boxes from your study material. So I'll suggest you that when you are studying this subject from now onwards, once you're done with your reference book or your teacher's material, go through ICSI material, see if there is anything that you have skipped and cover that immediately. Okay, now coming back to this question, this question is basically asking the directions issued by the court in the case of Satendra Kumar Anil versus CBI. It was a case. It was a judgment passed by the Supreme Court. So, what this court attracted is section 170 of the Criminal Procedure Code, which has now been changed to BNS. Okay, and another section, another article that this case attracted was Article 21 of Indian Constitution. But you will be surprised to know that in the answer we have nothing to do with Article 21 or section 170, because they are asking you what directions were issued in the case. Okay, not Article 21 and not section 170. So what do we learn from this is the common mistake that students may make while writing this exam is they may only explain bail provision but forget to discuss direction issued by the Supreme Court, or some may miss citing Article 21, which is the core of the question. Okay, you have to reflect 170, 120, 170 and Article 21, but your core will be the directions. I'll just go through the directions in a quick way, so that you know if these kind of questions are coming, how to handle them. Because I know that you guys face the problem of how will we remember so many things and how can we frame exactly same answers in exam, right? So when you are writing directions, you can just remember it like what for the government of India, they issued a direction that there can be a separate enactment. So when you are writing the answer in exam, you underline the word government of India separate enactment, so you will be depositing that you know what you need to write. This is what is needed in your answers, that you know what is being asked and you know how to frame it. Okay. Second point is for investigating agencies and their offices, that they have to make sure that section 41 and 41A is complied. Third authority they are talking is for courts who are seeing those cases. They have to make sure that compliance of 41 and 41A is being done by the investigating agency. So I'm trying to help you link the answer. You can in this way remember it. For state government, then after courts comes the state government and union territories. For them, they have to facilitate those standing orders issued under section 41, 41A by the courts. Okay, here they have written too many things. Do we have to remember these repetition dates? No, just frame it in a simple manner that the state government and union territory has to follow and facilitate the standing orders simply. But just make sure that in your answers you highlight those points. There are two more points. If you want, you can write them. If you want, you can skip them. Now these points you can write easily because they are connected. Then after those, then the comes for directions for state and central government, that they have to constitute special codes. So how you can remember it, that special code should be constituted by state and central government. Okay, again, high courts has to facilitate the release because these cases will be seen by the courts. So whatever the under trial cases are, the prisoners are, they have to be released, right? If the bail petition is approved, then the high court has to facilitate that. Again, third next point is sureties. We have to, while insisting upon sureties, make sure that mandate of section 440 is kept in mind. Okay, then these 2 points, make sure it's definitely there in your answers. When to dispose of the application. If it's a normal bail application, it has to be disposed within 2 weeks. If it's an anticipatory bail application, then 6 weeks time is there. State government, union territories, and high courts are directed also to file a status report, or you can say an affidavit, within a period of 4 months. So these are the points that you can mention and skip. I have also, I think, skipped 3 points, so that you know that few points we can skip, but we have to make sure that we are not writing only out of 10 5 points. That will not work. At least write 7 to 8 points and highlight the keywords, so they know, okay, you know what you are writing, you are not just doing gibberish things. Okay, now I'll move on to second question. This one is also a case based question. Here they are saying Mahendra is charged, accused in a high profile murder case, and the authorities, investigating authority, want to do a narcotic analysis test without his consent. Okay, you know, narcotics analysis test is when we try to figure out some question answers of some questions from the accused, right? So can they do that? What is the question? Is this right available to a person? Is it a violation of fundamental rights? So basically, we know that they are targeting our fundamental rights. Here, you have to break down the question when you are being asked in a case based. Okay, that what is the core? So here, the core is whether there is a violation of fundamental rights. So we have to think which violation is there, right? And then again, is that right available to all person? Remember, this is also one part of the question that you have to touch. Okay, so mistakes that we can do is we don't mention article 20 sub Article 3 explicitly. Some explain the narco test procedure, which is not required. Okay, you can't just pick up any word and write anything. You have to make sure that what is being asked. This is how you decode the questions. Okay, And another mistake, that forgetting to highlight that this right applies to all persons, including non-citizens, because that is what they have asked you, right? So how we can write this answer, frame this answer? You have to first mention what is Article 23, 20, Article 20, sub-article 3, and what are the conditions. Okay, even when you are writing the article, I have seen they write just what they have understood, but conditions they don't mention specifically. If you're not mentioning conditions specifically, then you would not be able to fetch good marks. Okay, and what the conditions are saying, that you have to ensure that all three are complied. You should be accused at the time when you are giving that statement. You have been compelled to be a witness, and you are giving evidence against yourself. If any of one element is missing, then this article will not attract. You have to specifically mention this. After this, you can also quote a case law, decided case law. Here they have mentioned Selby case law. Okay, and then you have to state your conclusion that a violation of his fundamental rights exists, and thus he cannot be compelled to do a narco analysis test. This is how you have to write answer. Another thing I'll like to quote here is, a lot of students I have seen writing too much copy paste from the question itself, or they write the facts in the beginning of the answer. These are the things you should not do. The right approach is, you should first figure out what provision it's attracting and write that, and then you have to mention the facts. If there is any decided case law, first write that, then facts of the case, and along with that frame the conclusion, highlighting what is the fact. Even if you are writing fact, just indication of the fact will be enough. You don't need to copy paste the entire question. Now coming back to third question. Here, what they are asking, he wants, basically what happened here is, the municipal corporation is not taking action even after multiple attempts of complaints by the civilians or by the people. So what writ petition can be filed, and what type of writ can be filed? Same question. Discuss and give reasons for your conclusion. Okay, so first you have to identify the writ. So you have to mention which writ you are going to apply under. Okay, one word of advice: whenever the writ is mentioned, you have to mention exact literal meaning. Like here, mandamus means we command. You can't write they command. You have to write we command, because I have seen in evaluated answer sheets that they underline or they mark that point where you write wrong. So that means whenever you are writing a writ, you have to write it literal meaning. Okay, otherwise don't quote it if you don't remember it. Okay, so basically this mandamus is about nature of a public duty. Here you need to highlight that. I have highlighted certain points which you should highlight in your answers. The writ is used when the inferior tribunal has declined to exercise jurisdiction. Mandamus can be issued against any public authorities. Okay, so basically first in the answer you will talk against whom, or uh, to facilitate whom this mandamus can be used. Okay, now in the next paras you can write about against whom mandamus does not lie. Like this paragraph I have highlighted, that you can't issue mandamus against president or governor of a state. This should form a part of your answer, even if you are reducing the length of the answer. But what should not be removed from your answer, it's something you should know. Okay, then it cannot be applicable to private individual or body. Okay, it is a discretionary remedy. Okay, and the high court may refuse it as well. It's not necessary that you go to court and they will approve it. Once you're done with these things, you will seek your conclusion. In that, conclusion should be clear, either yes or no. It should not be ambiguous. This is also one mistake that people do. Okay. A few more mistakes that you all can do is, some people write all five writs because they don't know which one is applicable, or since they are seeing writ is written to expand the answer, they write unnecessary things. So don't do that. If they are talking about bandibus, even if the answer is not lengthy, it's okay. but write only relevant things, because you're not going to get extra numbers for writing irrelevant things. Not explaining that the legal right must exist for mandamus to be issued. This is also one thing you should not make a mistake. Ignoring the fact that alternatives remedies must be exhausted, which I said. This one, this part, you should not miss this, okay? So, how to write it, I have already said. Mention articles if possible, if you could remember. If not, then also it works. But at least to whom it is applicable, to whom it is just not applicable, you should mention it clearly. Conclusion should be very clear. This is one extra question I have just added for you to practice. It is just on the basis of case. I have already discussed, I think question number 2 was like that only. First mention the article, then the case. So same pattern we are following. We are explaining the path of the rule of pith and substance, what does it means, and then we have quoted a case law here, and then we have passed our judgment. This is how your answer should be constructed, okay? Why I have given this question, to broaden your area, that from constitution, the institute in the past have asked question from like every topic there is a question. Even a simple topic which we feel it will not be asked in exam, they have asked the question. So that's why I have included this in the test. So that's a wrap for the day of 2 of our JIGL writing practice series. By now, you should have a clear understanding of how to approach these questions in your CS executive exams. I have tried to uh, help you out in how to structure your answers using case laws, articles, and relevant concepts. I have tried to explain you the common mistakes that you have been doing and you should avoid. And I have also taken in consideration how institute is asking questions from every chapter and the weightage of those chapters in the last 3 attempts. It will help you to figure out how you should uh, take care of a chapter in particular. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you will share your experience of these sessions in the comment section. That will be helpful for others to realize if this was helpful for people or not. And okay, see you in the next session. For questions, you can join the Telegram channel. There I have shared everything.